had that thing crying.
All right. So what was the Zarco debacle?
Well, he got like a wreck at the beginning, didn't he?
No, he crashed and they didn't award his points or something.
They stopped the race.
I don't know.
Did he crash on that like final lap? There was a lot going on. I was more so just like looking at the whole the rain issue.
Yeah, it kind of looked really cool watching it though. Like it was just like people were just coming out of the mist.
You couldn't see them in the mist.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were just coming out of it. Like you just see them come out of the mist and then just disappear again. I don't know how they could see. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think they could.
I don't know how anybody but Martin could see.
That's probably why they stopped the race, because no one could see.
I mean that makes sense.
I mean, you couldn't like penalize someone if they did something wrong, because if you tried to flag them, they wouldn't see the flag.
Yeah.
But welcome to the MotoGrandPodcast. I'm your host, Patrick Bailey. Joined with me, as always, is
Caleb.
And today we got my dad, Mr. Neale Bayly. You like to say hello?
Hello.
Making sure the mic's working.
I was just looking at the Zarco debacle.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
He didn't technically cross the pit lane entry and instead pushes back using an adjoining service road. He was unable to take the restart and therefore was not classified in the results.
Well, I saw he crashed. Wasn't he?
Didn't he crash twice?
Wasn't he behind the? He crashed during the red flag, correct? And then it was like, I always skip through the red flag because that it can take anywhere between 15 and 3 hours before they restart.
So
when I saw
he had a 6th place, but because he didn't enter the pit lane correctly, he aquaplaned and crashed after the red flag. And I guess he didn't get his bike back to the pit lane.
He didn't get back within 5 minutes.
No, he got back. He didn't do it properly, so they took his 6th place away.
Oh shit!
Which is kind of interesting.
Where's Zarco?
So sorry to hijack the start of the thing with the something in the middle.
I mean, there's really not much to talk about this GP race, you know.
And the GP race was pretty just.
It was, but honestly, before they red flagged it, it was actually really fun to watch.
I mean, really seeing shit, what's his name? Michelle Pirro.
Michele Pirro
leading on slicks for a few laps.
Bro he was up by like 12 seconds.
Well, it's because everyone had pitted and stopped, but he was just like, I'm just gonna keep racing.
I was like, I'm gonna get first for once. Let me just hang out up here. I saw that. That was funny.
Really it was sad. a shame that the rain came. It was looking like it was going to be on for a good ride, huh?
I mean, Motegi is always a good battle, especially in Victory Corner.
I mean, but honestly, there at the end, it kind of just seemed like Martin was just going to be gone if the race kept going, and Pecco was just going to be gone in 2nd place.
No, I mean, don't you think Bagnaia was starting to make a little bit of ground back on him?
Martin was. I mean, everyone was kind of going wide. It was hard to really tell with the rain. I mean, for a time it looked like Jack Miller was going to take off, and then he went wide in 3 corners and ended up back in 7th. Then got
first for a while.
And then he went wide, and then
Martin was. What about Marquez? He was going backwards super quick, and then all of a sudden he started moving up. I mean,
during the rain,
I mean, give him a few more laps. Looked like he was going to take Bagnaia.
Bro, I swear, if Marc Marquez beats Pecco in the race, I swear to God.
But did you see him? I mean, he started slipping backwards. Aleix got him, and then of course Motegi got him as well, didn't he?
Bagnaia?
I think no. Didn't Bezzecchi get Marquez for a little minute, and then
He
Marquez
had him at one point, but Marquez
got him back?
once the rain started falling really down, like a lot heavier, Marquez started making quick work of it. Marquez really looked to be the only one who was confident in that kind of weather.
Oh, I don't know. Martin looked pretty confident. He went out from the get-go pretty fast, didn't he?
Yeah, Martin wanted that win.
What do you think about Bezzecchi? I was a bit surprised. I thought he might do a bit better. Hasn't he been injured? Or was he injured last week?
I don't know. I think he's still kind of nursing that injury from when Luca ran into him.
No, the sprint race was dry, right?
Sprint race was dry.
Yes.
And Martin won the sprint race, and Bagnaia was...
He was third. He got third, I think.
Was he third?
Third.
Who was second?
I'm pretty sure because he was battling with Jack Miller for third.
That's right, and then Binder was up there. But I think Bezzecchi had a big get-off in the dry, which affected his sprint race in practice. He was pretty beaten up, so that's probably why he wasn't such a big feature even in the big main race.
Nursing a few
injuries,
bruised bones and things like that.
Also, Bez had a little fender bender at the beginning of the GP race. He ran into Zarco and someone else.
In the big race.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was coming back through the field a bit.
Like in the very beginning, right before it started raining, I think. I think it might have been Vinales and Zarco.
Vinales and Zarco, I thought it was.
Yeah, Bez hit him.
Wrecked in the first corner.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And Bez hit him. Bez was in that too.
Okay, he stayed on.
Yeah. And then Vinales tried to get back because of the flag to flag, and they didn't let him, so Vinales didn't finish the big race.
Okay. So I guess man of the moment, Jorge Martin. How many wins is that in how many races? I mean, he's got Pecco down to what? 10 points?
3.
Is it 3?
Is it 3 points?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. No. Is it 3?
I'm pretty sure because that's what it was saying when I look up stands.
Well, he was down 13 going into this week.
Yeah, bro, it's 3.
He got 10. Yeah, so it's 3 because he got first in the sprint and the race. And Bagnaia got third in the sprint, which is 7, and second, which is 20.
Oh my God, you're right. Bagnaia's got 319, Martin's 316. Bezzecchi's kind of off the ball now, 265. So he's 50 points adrift of Martin. So 3 points.
So I mean, mathematically, Bez isn't completely out of it, but Martin is 3 points going into the final 6 races.
Do you think Martin can keep this form up though? He's been absolutely.
I mean, he's been on a fucking tear, man.
Isn't he? I mean, how many has he won in a row now?
I don't know, but he's always up there now.
I think he's won the last 3 or 4 sprints, and then he's been podiums and firsts since.
I can't remember last time Martin wasn't at least podium,
or at least top 5.
Yeah,
you know,
he's been killing it, man, and it's really hard to watch. So,
I mean, he kind of it's almost like he's racing like he has nothing to lose, though. He's just throwing it all out there, doing, I mean, Pecco's fighting for back-to-back. Martin doesn't have a factory ride looming over his head anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of just riding to just get his name out there like, hey, Ducati, y'all made a mistake.
If Pecco loses, bro, I'm blaming it on the number 1 curse.
Yeah.
Him switching to number 1.
What I mean, the number 1 plate curse. Yeah. When was the last time someone went back-to-back with the number 1 plate? 80s? The 80s? Doing?
So Pecco crashed out the big race last week, didn't he?
India. Yeah, he crashed out at India.
Yeah.
He crashed out at India, but he finished Motegi.
And he finished 3rd in the sprint race, and Motegi in 2nd. So, I mean, he's not having horror. It's not like, if he was having I guess crashing's pretty awful.
He's been crashing all year, though. He's been crashing all year. That's his issue. He has too many crashes, I feel like.
I mean, all of his crashes always seem to be...
Right when he's passed somebody and he's trying to put a gap on him. That's happened a few times.
It's whenever he starts to push that bike a little more than he should, he loses the front.
Yeah.
I mean, Catalunya was different. He high-sided, which, is virtually impossible to do. I mean, cold tires. Yeah.
I still can't believe he didn't break a leg on that.
Yeah.
The big race? I think it was the sprint race.
No, it was the big race he crashed out with. Yeah.
So he's going. I mean, Martin's hauled a ton of points back in on him in the last 3 or 4 rounds, right?
Yeah, about 5 rounds. I mean,
he's
five,
really been
5 rounds ago, we were sitting here saying, all right, who's going to get second, Martin or Bez?
It almost wasn't worth watching for a while, was it? Bagnaia was just romping away with it.
Yeah.
And then,
but it's been interesting in practice. If you notice, like I see Simon Crafard keeps saying, "Oh, the team will get it sorted out. The team will get it sorted." He seems to be having quite a bit of problems in practice. Rear ends hopping around. Someone was saying that Ducati have got some new system in the back of the bike that they don't know about. That's why that wheel's hopping. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but he hasn't been looking super strong in practice. Then he just seems to pull it out in qualifying. Did he get pole this week?
No, I think Martin did. I think Martin's been the pole man on top. I mean, we can
look it up.
Give him a little. Yeah, Martin got pole. Bagnaia was second. I mean, it's almost like Ducati kind of perfected last year's bike, and I think that's what Martin is on.
Martin's on 23.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pramax 23. Okay.
So Bez is on a 22.
Bez is on a 22. Is Grassini on 22?
Well, there's a question.
Or are they on 21?
If Marquez is going to Grassini, what GP Ducati is he going to be on?
Yeah, so that's news. Marquez finally broke his silence about staying with Honda today, wasn't it? It was earlier
in
today.
The last couple of days.
Yeah, pretty recently, and he's going to Grassini because that's the only ride open. We were talking about this last episode. The only 2 rides available were Digi's and Augusto's, but now factory Honda's open, so
the spot everybody wants.
That's Digi or Augusto will take a factory ride in a heartbeat. I mean, that's more money. It's a lot more money.
Who wants to ride that Honda? Tell me right now. Who wants to ride it?
I'll ride it.
They put me on that thing, bro. I can't do much worse than them.
I mean, I'll go out there. I'll go out there every weekend and toss it down for a few $1 million. Let's have fun with that.
I'll ride that thing going 15 miles an hour and get dead last, lose by like 5 minutes.
Hey, but at least you'll finish.
Damn right.
I can't find anything to see what Grassini are using. Like what? I mean, I know Bez is on a GP. Bez and Marini are on GP22.
Yeah.
And Motegi elected to stay. That was a bit of news actually in the last couple of weeks. You noticed that Motegi elected to stay with Rossi's Moody VR46 team on the GP22, and there was like a bunch of people saying, why didn't he move up? But I think he's comfortable with Rossi and the ranch and the whole team, and he's doing pretty well in that thing.
We actually talked about this last episode. How
did you? Sorry.
No. Very briefly, it was basically saying how it's probably really good for those VR46 guys coming into MotoGP to start on that Mooney VR46 bike with Rossi in the paddock to help them develop their MotoGP skills to then become competitive so that they can step up. So maybe Bez is just playing the smart game and developing his skills in GP while he lets Martin, Bagnaia, and Enea fight for that factory ride, and then he'll just slip into a Pramac ride and whenever, because Pramac at this point is basically just factory 2 for Ducati.
Right. Does anyone know what Grassini is? I mean, I wonder if they're GP22s like.
They might be 22s.
I'm sure they must be if Moody's on them, right?
Yeah. I mean, they had a guy almost win the championship last year. It would make sense for them to.
Who was that?
Enea last season was on.
Oh, he's on the Grassini, wasn't he? He had some good rides on that bike, didn't he?
Yeah.
How do you find out what bike they're riding? Jesus Christ, why is it so hard to find?
Yeah, I can't.
It's not. I don't. You'd have to look at like some random Max Oxley article from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but you'd think if you Google, are you Googling it as well? I can't.
Yeah, man, I haven't found shit. I've been on so many different websites.
Okay, January 15th, 2022, both riders will race the Ducati Desmo Sedici GP21 in 22.
That's Grassini. So
That's Grassini.
So Grassini's on the GP21.
So Team Grassini, MotoGP 20, Team Grassini MotoGP 2023 version.
So in 2020,
but it's still not telling you what color are they? Well, that doesn't help, does it?
Like a lavender. I still don't like Premax livery, and I hope they change it next season.
Oh, that purple dude? Oh, so disgusting.
That weird purple and red.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like the white and red worked. I like the white and red, and then they're like, let's just throw some purple in it because we need more colors for some reason. I don't mind Grassini's colors. Grassini's colors are nice. It's gonna be weird seeing the Marquez brothers in the same garage, though. That's probably why
That's going to be interesting.
That's probably why Mark wanted to go to Grassini. Be in the same paddock with his brother.
There's a whole big article here on Grassini's colors, but nothing on what version they're riding. Are we just really bad at searching things here?
I think we might be. I think that's the issue.
I mean, even if you go to Grassini Racing, on Wikipedia it doesn't tell you. None of it's telling you what they're riding.
Well, it tells you
it just says a MotoGP Ducati Desmo Sedici. It doesn't say, but I would imagine they're on the same ones as
the Moody, right? The Moody, yeah. I would assume that Ducati would want them on the most recent bike as possible.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, you're putting Marquez on a not latest Ducati. I mean, what's the plan for that? Put him on that for a year and then move him up? But isn't he too old to be taking a factory seat?
Hopefully he just retires after another year or two.
I mean,
get his old ass out of there.
Oh, come on. Tell us what you really feel about Marquez now. You're blocked. You got to say he's done remarkably well to stay on that bike the last few rounds.
He's actually completed a few races. I'm very surprised. He was going to do a full year.
I think India, nobody had any data at India, so it was a bit of a level playing field. That's just his skill, right?
Yeah, but I mean, in Motegi, Mir finished as well.
Where did Mir finish?
12th, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Which is like a victory for Mir, right?
I mean, finishing a race is a victory for Mir, right?
Wait, in India?
No, in Motegi.
Yeah, I mean, Juan Mir's slid more miles than he's ridden this season.
I think if Mir doesn't crash for the rest of the season, that will still hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking at a post like a month ago, and it was showing Marc Marquez and Mir's finishes, and it was like one finish.
Yeah, it was from all DNFs.
Yeah, it was all DNF or DNS, and just one like 12th place in there for me.
Oh yeah, he had a terrible year. I mean, what about Miguel Oliveira? I mean, he's not doing. He's either been very unlucky this season. What did he finish down around 12th in this race? Because you can't think where did Oliveira finish?
He didn't finish.
Oh, he didn't finish.
No, he got 18th.
18th, but I mean he's.
Oh no, he didn't finish.
You sort of think of him as a bit of a wet weather guy, don't you? Morbidelli didn't finish. Pierre didn't finish. Right? Oh no.
Morbidelli finished 75 seconds off pace. That's because
I think he actually, to be fair, I think he stopped in for a snack.
That's what it looks like. Jesus. That man's just sitting back there just listening to music.
Well, Morbidelli and Michel Piero also were the two guys to sit on slicks the longest before coming in.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, it was a bit of a dull race, wasn't it? Like, it doesn't seem like there's much to talk about. Martin kind of got out front. Marquez went a bit backwards. Aleix was up front.
The craziest storyline was just Michel Piero's leading a few laps, but it's because
he was on slicks. That could have been a gamble that paid off. You never know with those things. It's one of those things where if it had dried up, he'd have been the hero.
Yeah. If it had stopped raining as soon as everyone but he and Morbidelli were out
Right.
there, then halfway through the race, the track would have had a dry line.
Right.
Those rain
The guys
rain tires would have been chewed up, and they would have been walking around like they were on slicks in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
And Michel Piro would have won by 3 laps.
You remember when Binder won in the rain on slicks?
Oh, that's Spielberg, 3 years ago now?
That's MotoGP brain.
I've heard Pat talk about that at least 4 times.
Yeah, I love that. It's like one of those iconic races, like Catalunya 2011, Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo.
Oh, when he went up the inside of him
in the last corner.
And they play that over and over and over again.
Oh, they still play that.
What was the
anytime
guy's-
they go to Catalunya.
I can't believe he's got on the inside. It's like the commentator's about to have a hernia.
Well, he said that like 5 times in the last, 3 seconds because they're inside, outside, inside, outside. It was.
Yeah, a bit of a dull race, really. I mean, I guess splashing around in the rain.
The stewards did a good job, I think, calling that race.
Yeah,
they let it
really dangerous.
They let it ride for as long as possible. They could have. They probably, if they would have cut it shorter, then no one would have gotten points, or it would have been half.
Right, you have to go 50% of the distance to get the point.
So they allowed it to go 50% of the distance, which was just enough to get everyone full points. But if it was half points, then Martin would only have Pecco would have what?
He'd be up by like 8 points.
No, I don't think he'd be up, but he'd be down. I'm not doing the mental math.
Well, here you go. What about this? Fernandez, A. 7th place. I mean, that's not bad for a rain race, right?
I mean, I think Fernandez is the best rider on that gas, but they gave Paul the ride for certain because Paul's been around longer.
He's been around.
But Paul is definitely skidded more miles than he's raced in his career.
Right. He had a horrible car on the Honda. Yeah, I mean, Paul was down in 15th, and he was plus 24, and Fernandez was plus 7. So, I mean, he was considerably quicker than Paul, although Paul is coming back from an injury. But Gian Antonio got an 8th. That's not bad.
Paul could have came back the race before the summer break, but they told him to sit a little longer to rest. So he's definitely fully healed. He's just, he doesn't have the experience on the bike like Augusto does. But, even still, you expect a veteran to be able to at least bounce back a little bit.
Yeah, I like Augusto. I hope he gets to keep his ride. But, hey, you want to hear something really crazy about this race? You're never going to believe this, right? You ready? You sitting down? Nakagami stayed on.
Wow.
Nakagami finished.
He finished a race.
Yeah. I
11th
want to see
place.
Nakagami's stats in this season.
I tell you what, I saw Marquez's crash stats earlier.
Mhm.
He crashed more times in 1 year than Quartararo did in 3.
Yeah.
And with 35 races as opposed to Quartararo's 53 races.
Yeah, significantly less races and significantly more crashes.
Yeah, 3 times the amount of crashes. But he's not been crashing lately, and he's had a couple of podiums.
He is the token crash boy still. He has the most wrecks this season. He also has the most races sat out other than Paul.
Yeah. But he has 6 races to. It'd be interesting to see what he does in that Honda when they get back to a track if it's dry and everybody's got all the setup.
The thing is, though, if Marquez starts to do good on that Honda, you think he's going to regret his decision?
No.
Nobody wants to stay on that Honda.
If Mir's staying on it now, Marquez is starting to stay on it now, maybe they figured something out and he's jumping ship a little too early.
Here's a question for you. So who gets to go on? Who gets Marquez's Repsol Honda ride?
Augusto.
What's your pick on that, Caleb?
It's Augusto or Digi. Or do you think they're going to ruin Acosta's career before it starts and throw him on there?
Honestly, I could see him doing some stupid shit like that. Put Pedro on that thing.
I don't think KTM would let Pedro out.
No, Pedro wants to be on KTM. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But they also still haven't signed him. So.
But Augusto.
I feel like it's definitely in the talks though. They've definitely.
It has to be, right?
Like you and me were talking that maybe they're trying to lowball him or something.
It could be. Red Bull KTM IO in Moto2 signed Vietti and Dennis Anjou. So Vietti got another Moto2 ride, and Anjou's moving up.
So you know that Pedro can't stay.
So yeah, Pedro's not staying in Moto2.
But they're not saying where he's going, because then they're not going to say who's getting punted, right?
Right.
So who gets punted? It's either Augusto Fernandez or Paul.
Or no, Digi. Paul got re-signed.
No, because Gian Antonio's with Ducati. But
no, Digi's Grassini. Digi's losing his ride to Marquez, to Mark.
Oh, so he could go to KTM.
Mm.
I don't think
so. There's 3 spots open: factory Honda, Grassini, and Gas, and there's 4 riders.
Which Grassini spots open?
Digi's.
Digi has got that.
Yeah. So Marquez takes that.
Yeah.
So then all that's open is factory Honda and Gas, and that's for Augusto. Augusto hasn't been re-signed, or he has a signing until 2024. So technically there isn't a Gas ride, but Acosta's moving up, and we're assuming that Acosta's going to take that Gas ride because he wants to stay with KTM. So
what if he takes Jack Miller's ride?
Jack Miller got re-signed.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm. Or Jack Miller signed a contract last year for like 2 years.
Oh,
his contract's not up, and Brad Binder signed another one until like 2026.
Okay.
So Binder's staying on that ride for a while. Jack Miller's in jeopardy next season.
Which would make sense if you...
Or not next season, but the season after. So
if you put Pedro on next season on the gas, then you move into the factory up. You boot Miller the year after and put Pedro up.
Yeah.
So whose seat does Pedro get? Fernandez or Paul Espargaro?
Fernandez, because Paul got re-signed.
Okay.
Or got extended.
So maybe Fernandez, like you said,
is
either Fernandez or Gian Antonio are going to go to Repsol Honda.
Yeah, so it's...
What about Lecuona, though?
Lecuona's a replacement rider.
But he was a MotoGP rider before he went to World Superbike, and Honda have had him. He's been in the Honda pack. He's raced that bike. I wonder if they'll be considering him.
I wonder if Costa's just going to get shafted.
No, they wouldn't. You wouldn't kick.
Sent to work.
No one's going to kick him out of Moto2 and not give him a MotoGP ride, are they?
I mean,
it might happen.
If you were KTM, would you want to? Let's just.
The world champion phenom let's just
shoot
him off
let's have Paul Espargaro and Augusto Fernandez splashing around at the back of the pack and
send Acosta to World Superbike.
No, Acosta's going somewhere.
So, Digi and Augusto, one of them are not going to be on the grid next season.
Right.
It's one of them, and Augusto's only on 1 year.
Maybe both of them if they bring somebody else in for that Honda ride, because Honda do strange things.
Right, but Augusto only has 1 season. He's the lone rookie this season.
Yeah.
So, but then again, KTM did boot Remy after his rookie season and kept Raul, and Raul got re-signed with Crypto Data Aprilia.
Yeah, what do you think about Raul Fernandez? He's been showing a little bit of form the last couple of rounds. Do you not think so?
He's gotten into Q2 the last two rounds.
And he got a 9th place, and it's a solid top 10 in the wet, which is not bad, right?
Yeah, maybe finally coming to. I definitely think they moved him up too early.
Oh yeah, he was run up in his rookie season in Moto2, and they stuck him straight in MotoGP on a piece of poo KTM, right?
It's like what happened with Darren Binder last season, going from Moto3 to GP. Now he's back to Moto2, getting
his ass handed.
he's. I think Darren Binder might be the most unlucky rider in the entire series this season. Yeah. Like more so than Miguel Oliveira. Darren Binder, I think,
Bezecchi hasn't been very lucky. How are they getting knocked off a bunch?
Yeah, but I think Binder has 10 DNFs from other people's crashes running into him.
Yikes.
It's something crazy like that. Like, I think Darren Binder only has like 12 crashes all season, and 10 of them are someone else's fault.
Nuts.
And they were all in races. So, but then again, Darren Binder, when he stays on the bike, is fighting for 15th. So,
when he stays on,
right? when he doesn't get knocked off.
Hey, that boy
definitely not the most exciting race weekend.
Moto
I like
2.
Moto 2 was
2
awesome.
Moto 2 was good.
Yeah.
Dry race. I mean, it's always good seeing Somcat Chancha win because Somcat Chancha is probably the happiest dude on the. I feel like Somcat was happier last season getting a third than he was in Japan, or he was happier at his home race getting like a second than he was winning in Japan.
Interesting.
But then again, he also got a podium at his home track, so it's.
Yeah, he got a good buzz.
He was pretty happy when he won that, man. He popped that wheelie early on.
Yeah, I think he popped the wheelie before he crossed the finish.
He did, bro.
He came around Victory Corner and just rode it all the way through.
Well, MotoGP is interesting. P and I were talking about it at dinner because Arbolino's 50 points back now.
Mm-hmm. There's 6 races left. Arbolino's Acosta's biggest competition. He's 2 races down. Acosta can have 2 complete blunders and still be winning the championship. But
bro, this man Tony Arbolino has been fumbling the bag. I don't know what has been going on with him.
Well, last season
he dropped off. He has dropped off. Did you see him? I mean, this weekend. I mean, he was going backwards.
Yeah,
I mean,
like everyone was trying to fight forward, and he was the only person just kind of fighting backwards. I don't know what was going on with him.
That tends to happen to him a lot. We've talked about this in prior episodes, but it always seems like once Tony Arbolino gets past once, he's going to get past at least 5 or 6 more times.
Interesting.
It's something about when someone goes around him, he just falls back and he just gets caught up.
Yeah, maybe he's better with a clear track because I mean he's had some pretty lightning starts. He's had bad good positions too. He's not qualifying high, and it seems Pedro's doing a little bit more consistent qualifying now. He's getting up there.
I mean, yeah, Pedro's consistently starting in the first. I think in Motegi was like the first time he was off the front row in like 6 races.
Yeah.
And he still got third, so it was like one of his worst starts in a while, and he's still. Acosta, the announcers were talking about it. He plays a lot of mind games that like riders don't, that really eat away at the riders. You think you have Acosta around backed up on the ropes, but he just slips it and puts you on the ropes.
I'm gonna be honest, watching Pedro race scares the shit out of me. Every time I see someone I like in first place and I see Pedro just weave in and he's in third place, I'm like, oh fuck. Well, they're not gonna be in first for long. All right.
But that it's kind of like homage to Acosta's, riding sense. I mean, he's not flashy like many other champions have been. He's very meticulous.
Yeah, he's doing it methodically, isn't he?
Methodically, and
like he gets out front, he's just running the same lap time, and he's a little bit ahead. He's not streaking off into the distance anytime he wins.
He is so goddamn good at passing people.
He's consistent too. He's very.
He is back in like 8th place or something. That man will find a way to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't worry about him in the early laps. If he's 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, you know he's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking today at dinner. I mean, when Chantra and Ayagura were sort of up the road in Japan like that, I wonder if he just said, "Hey, I've got 3rd place today. Someone's on his pit board. Arbolino's going backwards. Just took his points, brought it home, didn't push too hard." I think he's a very smart rider. He seems seems like a smart rider for someone so young.
He definitely isn't someone who makes the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
Le Mans, he chased Arbolino and tossed it.
Right.
Spielberg, he wanted so desperately to win, got passed by Vietti, burned his tires, and instead of chasing Vietti and pushing it and fighting for every point, he sat back, took that second as much as it crushed him, but he didn't make the same mistake as he did in Le Mans. And then he paid Vietti back a little extra when they went to Misano and beat him at Misano pretty very handily. So
yeah, I think Pedro's a smart rider, but I also think it pisses him off when he doesn't win a race.
Yeah,
I feel like he gets upset when he does not win. I feel like he's okay with understanding that he needs to take a third sometimes and not push it. I feel like he gets so mad. I feel like next race he's gonna win by 5 seconds.
He comes out angry, doesn't he?
I feel like he's gonna be mad and just destroy everybody.
Like when he wins, he's like, okay, on to the next one. But when he loses, he's like, mother, dude. It eats away at him, which, it's good. It's like good championship drive, but once he gets to the MotoGP, and doesn't win every race, it might eat away at his psyche a little too much.
Well, there's still 6 races to go. I mean, don't give him the championship yet. I mean, he's only got to have an accident, break a bone or something, and miss a couple of rounds, and Arbolino finds a bit of form. It could be a whole different story. I mean, I think if there's 3 or 4 rounds to go, he'll be looking to be a bit sewn up. But I think a lot will hinge on next week when they race again. Like if he significantly beats Arbolino next week, I think Arbolino's going to have too big of a hill to climb. And it'll be very interesting to see if Pecco starts getting the better of. I mean, Pecco has to get the better of Martin now. He can't keep finishing behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he was battling so hard to get second, because he was in third there for a little bit.
Who did he pass? Who did he pass to get into second?
Aleix?
It wasn't Marquez.
I think it was Bez at the time.
No, I think it was Aleix at first, because Aleix was in first.
Yeah. And then Aleix went wide and allowed Bez through.
But I think he was pushing a bit on Martin. I don't think he was. Martin wasn't having that all his own way in the rain. I mean, if that had gone on, I mean, if Marquez was coming.
I think if it would have stayed dry, that would have been one hell of a race between Martin and Pecco. I feel like Pecco would have been really trying to get up there to him.
Well, he needs to now, because I mean his points leads down to 3, right?
3 points, yeah.
Yeah, that's so sad.
What? 6 sprints, 6 races. How many points is that on the board? Because it's no longer just 25 points on the board.
Well, that's 150 and 54. There's 204 points left.
There's 204 points left on the board. 3-point gap. That's
nothing. Yeah. I mean, at least it's level. It's a level playing field, really, going in with 6 to go. I just like when you see Martin's been on such great form. It's like Pecco goes on those stints of really great form, and then something messes up. When's Martin's blunder day or unlucky day? He's had so much form.
Hopefully next race.
Don't say it. Yeah, well, for you, I want to see Martin beat him. But it's kind of interesting. What's interesting about this is like when you're suddenly into this, everybody was moaning and complaining there's so many Ducatis on the grid, but you're not looking at it like, oh, poo, it's a Ducati against Ducati. It's definitely the characters bring the teams and the colors and the characters. You sort of forget that they're both on the same bike. Or it becomes immaterial.
Yeah, I definitely had that concern of it's Ducati versus Ducati at the beginning of the season, but now
it's personality versus personality, isn't it? And they're both great. I mean, they're all great. Yeah. Well, very cool.
So Moto3, I know
my time to
Moto3. So Caleb never watches Moto3, so I normally go on a quick little
rant
about what happened in Moto3.
Let me talk about my 2 people. That's all I need to talk about.
You want to take a nap while we talk about Moto3?
Well, he wants to talk about Tayo Furusato and Filippo Ferreira.
Tayo Furusato, 12th place. Pretty shit. What's going on there? Filippo, 1 place away from points, baby. Like to see it. Okay.
So Filippo's a nice little rookie on.
Where's Caleb going?
He doesn't listen. It's his little bit. So Filippo's a nice little rookie. He's developing nicely. Next season we'll see kind of if he improves or not, or he'll be booted out, or what happens with that. Tayo Furusato's starting to show a little more form. It is the Asian circuit now, so he's close to home, so he's going to ride a little harder. But the big story is Joan Masia taking the points lead. Ayumi Sasaki settling into second now and bumping Holgado all the way down to third. Holgado's been down on form a lot recently.
Not badly.
Not badly, but for how he was doing at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And
he didn't have any lead. He didn't take the lead at all. He was struggling to hang on the back the whole time.
Yeah. And
he would have got a 4th if Ronju hadn't crashed.
Right. So I think Holgado needs that big group status to win. Because beginning of the season, every race it seemed like there was 20 guys within a second of each other, and he was dominating those because he was using the slipstream. He could hang back, conserve his tires. He didn't have to be super aggressive through the whole race. He didn't have the
slipstream on those guys either, did he?
But these last few rounds, where Hogata seems to have been losing his points, where Masia and Sasaki have been starting to do better, or when they're smaller groups, there's less slipstream, and it's more of a dogfight. Yeah,
he just takes off.
It's been more of a dogfight. The Leopard Hondas are better in the second half of the season as their Dennis Foggia last year on the Leopard started to come into form.
Yeah, and they're fast too.
Something about the bikes, they're better down the straight than in corners, and something about these later tracks are more. The Leopards are more attuned to them. I would say
a bit more power,
more oomph in them. Yeah,
which is odd because they're all the same. Hey, wake up! He's like, I'm not interested. You're talking about Moto 3.
Oh, you say something?
But Masia's had a lot of bad luck this season too, and he's still taking the championship lead, which, I mean, it makes sense why he's getting that Moto 2 ride. Ayumi Sasaki, it's good he's getting that ride. And Anju, I think, would be a lot bigger of a spoiler this season if he wasn't so big.
Yeah.
So when he moves up to Moto 2, he'll be on a bike that he can fit on, and he's a slow learner. It took him a while to develop in Moto 3. I think it'll be the same when he goes to Moto 2, but once he does get into form, I think he'll be well in the championship fight probably at least 2 years.
Well, and there's only 10 points separating the top 3, so Holgado could have a good weekend, somebody else could mess up. There's a bunch of spoilers in the pack that can take the win and divide the points up.
Ivan Ortola can come into form again.
What a good race, though.
Colin Vire, the teammate for Ayumi Sasaki, is starting to.
It was a good race.
Do well. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. So, all right.
So let's get into the predictions for where are they racing at next? Indonesia, another track. Did they race there last year?
Yes.
And that was the only other time, right? Yeah, so it's still a relatively new track. So
predictions, Caleb?
MotoGP.
Ooh, MotoGP.
MotoGP predictions.
Gotta have my boy Pecco first. He needs that shit.
I think, he definitely needs to win.
And I feel like Martin's still gonna be up there, being a little bitch, trying to win. So he's probably gonna be in second. And I feel like it's still just Pecco, Martin, and Bez. I feel like it's just them 3. I don't know. I mean, there's always a chance for some little other person to get in there.
A spoiler, like a Binder or a Leish coming in.
God forbid Marc Marquez gets back-to-back podiums.
No, that would be my pick. Those 3 up top and those 2 spoilers. I don't see Miller doing it. Bastianini's out hurt again, right?
Is he?
I think he is. Alex Marquez is out hurt.
Is Anea still hurt from that
No, he's
crash
hurt again.
early in the season? Or
No, he's hurt again.
Yeah, that's right. Catalunya, I forgot.
Rins tried to come back, but he's still hurt.
I can't believe
Is Marini fully healthy? He's not fully healthy.
I think Marini is still hurt from running into Bez, but he might come back.
Yeah, there you go. I think the 3 picks. It's between Pecco, Martin, and Bez, and these spoilers are going to be Binder or Leish.
I think Martin's going to win it, though. I don't
know. Pecco wants to
shut your dirty little mouth. You take that back right now. Take it back.
I don't know. Pecco is going to be very, very motivated to beat him. Very motivated to beat him. He has to. I think you're right. He has to beat him.
He has to beat him. With
6 to go, if he loses another one,
which might spoil trouble for Pecco, because Pecco, when he pushes it, we've seen.
Hey! Stop talking. What are you trying to put into the universe right now? Stop talking.
What was it comment? What was it that Matt Bird, the commentator, said?
Absolute cock up, or an astronomical cock up in America. Yeah.
No cock ups. Okay, no cock ups are allowed.
Keep your cock in your pants, Pecco.
Yeah, keep it in there. Yeah,
well, I'm going to put my money on Martin just because Caleb wants Pecco. No, I do want to see Martin win it.
I'm just going to pretend like I'm not listening to you. I'm just going to pretend like I'm not hearing any of this. Okay.
Moto 2, I'll go first. Acosta. I think I again will get another second. Third, Dixon. Yeah, I would say Dixon because Dixon's been kind of out of form. I think he'll finally kind of get back into it. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. But I was flip flopping I and Dixon. I think Dixon's gonna get second. I feel like he gets the better of I whenever they battle majority of the time.
yeah,
If those two are battling for second, Dixon usually comes out on top.
But this is an Asian track. That's why
That is true.
Over Dixon.
Yeah,
Which I think this is the exact same prediction for Moto2 as we had last week.
I don't know.
I think I had I winning last week, or did I? No, I probably had Pedro.
We both had Pedro, but you did have I as second. I think we both had I second, so we were right about that.
I don't see Pedro for the win for some reason. I think at this stage in the season, with his points win, with his point, having that big chunk of points, I kind of have a bit of a feeling. We were talking about Dylan today that his job right now is just to stay ahead of Arbolino and stay on the bike. And I think
I'm telling you though, that man does not like to lose. He is not happy.
I think his goal is to finish in front of Arbolino, but I also think he's still trying to prove that he's MotoGP ready. And
fair point.
A win will push that even further.
But if he's lifting a championship at the end, they don't care if he did it with 10 wins or 5. He won the championship, so
he cares.
It'll be interesting.
Moto3, I think Massia is going to get another one. Massia's been on great form.
This whole Gatto can pull something out of the pack. I don't see he seems to be tailing off a little bit.
I see Colin Vire getting second. I don't know why. And then I think Anju will get a third.
Well, there we go. Let's not put our house money on it. See you, buddy.
But
we done?
All right.
We're out. Yeah, have a good one.
That's one way to outro it.